All right, everyone. Welcome to Series 10 of Doctor Who Talk. So in case you're new to this, I did one of these. It was like 2.5 hours long for Series 8. I did another one for Series 9, and I'm doing one now for Series 10. Given this is way overdue, like episode 8 just aired on YouTube. And episode 9 is on Patreon. So I'm essentially one episode away from finishing series 11. So I'm gonna have to I'm doing this right now because I have to, and I afterwards I need to do series 11 one. So at this point this is kind of a tradition, so I feel like I have to. Also, there's stuff I want to talk about. Nothing is specific right now in my head because this is okay. There is like no script for this shit. I just hit record and I'm just gonna talk and whatever happens happens. The other thing I want to say right away, that it was a mistake in the series 8-1 and I mentioned it in the series 9 video, is that I'm not gonna be editing this. I'm just gonna put video and audio together and I'm just gonna render it, and that's what's gonna go on the channel, because editing a video of myself talking for like, I don't know how long this is gonna be, you can tell, but I don't know, but last time it was like 2 hours. I'm not doing that shit. So yes, there's gonna be moments where I'm just like sitting there thinking, and you're gonna have to deal with that. But series 10 of Doctor Who, I'm gonna be talking about series 10. I'm also going to be talking about the Peter Capaldi era in general, the 12 Doctors era, and we can throw a little bit of Moffat era in there in general, even though I don't think I'm the most qualified person to talk about it, because I watched Matt Smith run 8 years ago. So it's not that fresh in my mind. I have seen reactions of it recently, but that's it. There's a bike passing by. Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of this. I can't edit that now. So, okay, let's try to keep on track. Let's talk about series 10 alone for now. Then we can expand to Peter Capaldi, and the 12th Doctor and his entire run, which I think it. I've said this before. In case you're new here or you haven't heard it, the 12 Doctors era of the show is my favorite. It's also the 12th Doctor is also my favorite Doctor. So there you go. I'm putting it out there. I already said it before, but just in case you didn't know. So, okay, I have the list of episodes right here. The episodes in question would be The Pilot, Smile, Thin Ice, Knock Knock, Oxygen Extremist, Pyramid at the End of the World, Lie of the Land, Empress of Mars, Theaters of Light, World Enough in Time, and The Doctor Falls. And I guess you can throw Twice Upon a Time there as well. So, I feel, in general, that Series 10 wasn't as good as Series 9, but it was way better than Series 8. It is also really, really good and better in general than Doctor Who seasons, I think, that the average is. Because, okay, I said this before, I think I said it more in comments, but my favorite season of Doctor Who is Series 9. My second and third favorites would be Series 10 and Series 4. I'm not sure which one would be second, which one would be third. Just fuck it. It's a toss up. Everything else, kind of don't care that much. But I will say that the ones I like the least would be Series 6, 7, and probably 2. I enjoyed Series 1 because it was my first season, and I feel like it was a really good introductory season to what Doctor Who is. So I enjoyed it a lot because of it. Also, I enjoy Chris Eccleston as the Doctor so much, and I miss him. Series 2, I don't know why, but I it didn't do it that much for me. It was, there were some good episodes. It was like Girl in the Fireplace was a memorable one. But there were moments of that one even that I was like a little bit, But oh yeah, Age of Steel and Rise of the Sun, that was a good two-parter, and Doomsday was pretty good too. But that's still just like 4 episodes that I remember. Then we did, what did we do? Oh yeah, series 3 with Martha. I actually really like Martha, and I really like series 3. There was some memorable episodes in it, and Jack came back, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. At the end, there was the whole Master, Jack, Utopia, the Tocopane, all that shit. I felt like the resolution to that whole arc was a little bit rushed, but it was still pretty good. Series 4, I really like Series 4 because I really like Donna Novel. I really like some of the stories they did in Series 4, some of the things they did. And the finale for Series 4, Journey Sand, is just like, not even Journey Sand, it was Stolen Earth. Stolen Earth was the one, because it was just like, fuck you, here's everyone. Here's the Doctor, here's Donna, here's Rose, here's... I don't think Mickey and Jackie showed up until the next episode, but like, here's Rose, here's Jack, here's the Torchwood team, here's Sarah Jane, here's her kid, here's Kate. No, I don't think K9 was in it. I think K9 showed up later. Mr. Miz was there. Like, everyone was there. Martha was there too. Martha's family, Donna's family, Wilfred, and the mom, and it was just so much. And at the end of Journey Send, you get this moment where everyone is working together in the TARDIS, and it's like the only time we've seen the TARDIS with like 10 people in it, and everyone's just working, and it's not a bunch of randoms. It's like our entire cast that we've assembled for 4 years. It was such a good send off to the Russell T Davies era, even though that wasn't it. We had a couple of specials afterwards, but it was so good. It was so good. Series 5, I felt like it was... There's a transition period between RTD to Moffat, and Moffat definitely does things differently. But there were some good episodes in Series 1, and I did enjoy Smith to some degree. Even though I would probably say that Matt Smith is my least favorite Doctor in the modern era. There was stuff that I really liked back then. And even now, I'm like, those are pretty cool things that he has going on, but there's also a bunch of other things that I'm like, yeah, maybe not. And a lot of that was actually addressed to Peter Capaldi, and I'm gonna get there when I get to Series 8. But yeah, Series 5 was okay. I like it more than 2, but, you know, there was some crazy shit going on in 5. But then we get to 6, and it's like, what are we doing? 7 still feels like, what are we doing too? And it introduced Clara, and I'm gonna talk about Clara now, because now... Well, I guess I already talked about Clara in the Series 9 one. I don't remember what the fuck I said, but Clara grew on me, but initially I was like, I don't know. Whatever. Series 8, though, Series 8 of Doctor Who, that's where the good shit starts. And it's not even the good shit, it's just the better shit. Because Series 8, give me a second, I'm moving the camera a little bit. I just want to be right in the center of the frame. But Series 8, the 12th Doctor wasn't where I wanted him to be yet, but it was going in a really good direction, and I could tell. And Peter Capaldi fucking sold me with his performance alone on the 12th Doctor. But like, right away when he shows up, in Deep Breath, they address something that I don't think I mentioned this, but they address something that I wasn't a fan of before, and they fix it. And the way they do that is... Okay, so what I'm talking about is that at the end of Deep Breath, the 12th Doctor talks to Clara, and he's like, we gotta fix this mistake. And it's like, Clara, not your boyfriend. And Clara said, I never thought you were. And he's like, I never said it was your mistake. And I'm just like, I felt vindicated, acknowledged it, and I was like, okay, we're good. Because that's the main thing I didn't like about the 11th Doctor, and it's how flirty he was, but he wasn't also flirty, it was that everyone else was flirty to him. And it's like, I don't know. It felt like, no offense to Moffat, but like, it did feel like it was like some weird self-insert, and he also wanted all of these hot chicks to just like talk to him. That's what it feels like, you know? Sometimes it feels like that when you're watching a show or whatever. It's like, oh, this writer was low-key horny going into this. Because like, Amy, River, which is also, there's a weird thing going on with this too, and then Clara, and it's like pretty much every main woman we had that mattered in during the Moffat era was the same in a way, and they all wanted to ride 11 stick, and it's like that's the main thing I didn't like. It is immediately acknowledged and solved in Deep Breath, and I'm like, good. Given that it's probably because it would be really weird with Peter Capaldi now, because he's no longer a young handsome lad. Now he is now he's a silver fox, and I didn't even know what the fuck that was, but I found a video on YouTube recently. It was recommended to me, where somebody asked Peter Capaldi how he feels about being a silver fox, and I had to Google what that was. At the same time, someone told Peter Capaldi what that was, and he was like, "Oh shit, okay." And it was a very funny moment at that one con. Cons are fun. Cons are fun. Also, I've been watching a lot of like panels with Peter Capaldi about Doctor Who and shit. He's a very interesting man. He's a god dad. He's a good dude. What the fuck did I just say? But the thing is that they address that in Deep Breath, and it's immediately fixed, and we never do that shit again. And I'm like, good. Thank you. Like, thank you so much. That was my main complaint that I could have about the 11th run. And it's still my main complaint about Moffat's run. But it was fixed for the 12th Doctor. So that was great. Now, I said I was going to talk about Series 10. I immediately started talking about the overall picture. So I guess I'm doing that one first. Then I'm going to go back to 10. But Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, has the best Doctor character arc and journey of the ones I know. Like, I haven't watched any, like, classic Doctors on their entire journey. I've seen them in a specific stories, but not as a full journey, because that is too much. So I cannot speak for them, but of the modern Doctors, the 12th Doctor is the one I think with the best journey, the best character arc. Some people might disagree, that's fine. That's how I feel about it, at least. And the reason why is because the Series 8 12th Doctor is a very different 12th Doctor than the Series 9 12th Doctor, which is a very it's a very different character from Series 10 12th Doctor. Because the thing is that in Series 8, he was kind of a dick. He was kind of an asshole, and it's because... And Peter Capaldi actually spoke of this on panels and shit, and that gave me more understanding of what they were going for. And it's that this character is very alien. This character is not human, and you can tell he's not human. And he always felt weirded out that the Doctor was really human, when in reality he's thinking, when this is some weird alien that is thousands of years old, why would he ever be anything like you would expect them to be? And I agree with that, because that's how I felt when we were doing Eccleston's run into Russell T Davies era. I was like, he's too human for being a weird time space traveling alien that is hundreds of years old. He's too human for that. And then we did David Tennant, and he was even more human than he was before. Then Matt Smith was something completely different, but it also the shit I didn't like. Peter Capaldi landed exactly where I wanted the Doctor to be. I wanted the Doctor to just be fucking weird. It was weird in the sense that he wasn't a normal person. He couldn't at all pass to be a normal person. I feel like every Doctor before that could, until they started talking. This one didn't. This one felt very weird and alien right off the bat. And that was good. That was really good for me. So, he had no charm. He had none of that. He didn't care either. He was so serious and down to business and just like, fuck the shit, I'm done. You know? Just like, that was him. And I really, really like that. But at the same time, they also in series 8 they did this thing where he was so much more intense and aggressive, and consistently he wondered, am I a good man? That was the question. That's the name of his character team, a good man question mark. It's a really good song, by the way. I have it on my playlist. It's a really fucking good theme. But the thing is that going down that route was something that uh, it didn't do it for me. But I was like, fine, let's see where this goes, because we had this whole season of like, fuck soldiers. I'm against soldiers, like on a rationally though. It's like, and just like, sorry, it's been a while since I watched Series 8. I'm just trying to do everything from memory. But he, good. Not editing these things makes this a lot more difficult. The fact that I'm not editing this, because I also get super distracted. You can sometimes tell, but it's worse in these videos. But so he was very ruthless, and there were moments that I remember. For example, in Flatline, when he names the boneless and just tells him to fuck the fuck off. That was kind of a badass moment, but at the same time, when I watched that, and I'm pretty sure you can tell in that video, when I watched Flatline, I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about this, because that was like too, it was like too gray in the way he gave him like fuck off speech. It was like, I'm the man who stops the monsters. You clearly don't care. I name you the boneless. Fuck you, and it felt like he wasn't, it felt like he was like too angry, if that makes any sense, given those things have been killing people and it seems that they didn't care about them. But it's like, it felt like he was too angry on that, and to me that was like, wasn't a red flag, but it was a warning flag to me. It was like, I'm not sure where this doctor is going, but I'm not sure if I like where he is right now. Luckily, they addressed this. Luckily, that was the point. And here's the thing, is that Series 8 makes so much more sense when you look at it as a part of a full picture. Now that you have Series 9 and Series 10, if you look at it as a full picture, Series 8 is fucking amazing. I mean, not on a story-to-story basis. There's a couple really good ones, though. But I mean in a character arc sense. The 12th Doctor in Series 8 wasn't where I wanted him to be. I wasn't entirely a big fan of what the main thing was. But it's okay, because that was the point. Is that doing the thing with the soldiers, doing the thing in Into the Dalek, doing the thing in Caretaker, Kill the Moon, namely, and Mama in the Orient Express, a little bit in Flatline, and Dark Water, and finally in Death in Heaven. It's like, when you actually get to see all of that, it makes so much more sense that this is a character that, in a way, he's kind of trying to find himself, or he's kind of like getting too distracted into other shit. I don't know how to put this into words, but he was too intense, and he was like too into himself, if that makes any sense. Not like David Tennant, but like, it's still too into himself, in the sense that, okay, how do I explain? In the sense, okay, so Death in Heaven, right? So Death in Heaven, finally, it is explained to us that what Mrs. Plan is, and it's like, this is what you always wanted. You always wanted an army, because now you can do whatever you want. Nobody thinks it's more right than you are. And there were moments across the season where the Doctor was going too hard on like, I'm doing what's best for you, without actually asking if you wanted to do that. Namely, Kill the Moon. And Kill the Moon, I felt like it was a crucial character point for the 12th Doctor and Clara, because the 12th Doctor, Capaldi, literally just fucks off. He leaves, and Clara's like, why would you do that? And he says, I thought that was best for you. I was giving you space, so you could do whatever you wanted to do. The choice was up to you. uh, I was giving you the freedom to do what you wanted. And it's like, Clara's like, I never, like, she never asked for that. And she also, like, because it's such a douchey thing to do, to just leave your friend to fucking deal with that shit alone when they clearly wanted your help or just wanted you around. You could have, I said it in the episode, like, you could have just stayed. You didn't have to leave. You could have stayed and refused to actually come up with a solution. But no, he just left. And Clara was rightly so very upset at him for that. But that is important because that comes back. It comes back in Mummy. In Mummy and the Orient Express, Clara is like ready to be done, and then she's not. And the 12th Doctor like plays this character of like, I don't give a shit. But then at the end of the episode, he's like, no, I did. I was just kind of playing alone so that the AI didn't know. Gus didn't know what my actual intentions were. And he really did a really good job at that. But like the thing is that this Doctor, 12th Doctor, steps so much into this gray area that you could never that you at the time at least you couldn't tell if he was actually serious about being that that heartless, or like, because he's very pragmatic, right? He doesn't have any touch, so it's like you couldn't tell if that was the case or if he didn't care, but he was just tricking you, and it's like that's how Clara feels. But then it is addressed that away. And then you get to Dark Water, and it's like Dark Water. It's like crucial. There's one line of dialogue that is like the most crucial, one of the most crucial moments for the 12th Doctor, and it's, "Do you think I care for you so little that would make a difference?" And it's when Clara chucks all the TARDIS keys and betrays them, and it's just like, you gotta tell me, you gotta take me to wherever I need to go. We need to change that, whatever, all that shit. The 12th Doctor is like, I don't care that you did that because I care about you. And it's like, okay, that tells me everything I needed to know about what kind of person the 12th Doctor is. It took a while, but that told me everything. That told me a lot about how much he cares, but he still kind of does things the way he thinks things need to be done. He doesn't really consult other people. But in Death in Heaven, it is finally the moment where he's still wondering, what the fuck am I? What am I? What kind of person am I? And at the end of the episode, he finally goes, "What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing, man? I'm just a dude in a box. That's it. I just kind of fly around. If I see something I don't like that I can help with, I help. I just tell stories. But I'm just a dude. What the fuck do I care about what kind of person am I? Why am I having all this existential crisis? It doesn't matter. I'm just a dude. I'm just flying around and I like hanging out. And that's it. I just like hanging out." And he finally gets this revelation. And from that point onwards, in Series 9, even in Last Christmas, you can tell that the 12th Doctor is a lot looser. And given it is a little bit difficult to tell in Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar, because he is kind of like too loose, because he's like, well, I'm about to die. I also did like that thing with Davros and shit. So it's difficult to tell how much of it was a progression and how much of it was him saying, well, I'm about to die, so I'm going to party hard, you know? Is one. But I think it's both. I legitimately think it's both. And in Series 9, there's a lot of moments where you can see him, and it's like, oh, you are way different than you used to be in Series 8. You were super serious and grumpy and didn't take no shit. Series 9, you're making jokes, man. When did you learn how to make jokes? And it's because you learn to not give a shit. He learned to let go a little bit, let loose a little bit. And there were a couple episodes where that comes across even harder, which is like the woman who lived, when he actually meets fucking Quick Sam or whatever the fuck the name of that dude was. He was about to die and he didn't give a shit. He kept making jokes. And that he has this conversation with the shoulder where he's like, listen, like that is that is the essence of humanity, because that's what matters. And sometimes us immortals, we lose sight of what is actually important, but then we get to see it through them. They can appreciate the small things. They can have fun and enjoy life for what it is, despite their short lifespans, because there's so much and they have so little time. So they spend all their time just having fun. And even though it is difficult for us, we can experience it through them. And I feel like that is also a crucial moment, because in the next episode, Capaldi is making jokes. And I feel like that is one of those moments where he's like, yeah, I should hang out more. So during Series 9, the entire time, he is just hanging out. And from that episode, from Woman Who Live onwards, I feel like he is even looser than he was before. That didn't last long, though, because Face the Raven. The thing about Series 9 is that the 12th Doctor goes through a lot. Face the Raven, fucked. Heaven Sent, fucked. Hellbent, pretty fucked. And then, that's the thing. Is that is like a hard change and a hard challenge in the life of the 12th Doctor and in the Doctor in general. And it's the fact that Face the Raven, your companions died in front of you, there's nothing you can do. And the thing is that there have been companions that have died before, but the majority don't necessarily die right away, right off. Even Amy didn't die. She died, but she didn't. She time traveled to a different point in time, and she lived to death. So it's not a death. You're not entirely sad for that companion, because you're not gonna get to see them anymore, despite you having a time machine. So I don't know why wouldn't you want to go and see them anyway. The thing is, they still had a life. So it's like, okay, they got that at least. But Clara dies. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think the 12th Doctor is one of the Doctors that would take that the worst of any of them. Because the 12th Doctor has actually proven to be really, really vulnerable. He looks really tough. He acts really tough. He acts very pragmatic. But he is very vulnerable, actually. And whenever Clara was in danger, or whenever he thought about the possibility of losing Clara, of losing anyone, the girl who died, for example, there was this nice moment when he was like, I'm tired of losing. And Clara's like, but you didn't lose, you saved the town. And he's like, I don't mean the war. I lose anywhere you like. It's like, I'm tired of losing people. And every time, I'm just going to lose someone. And even you, someday, you're going to go away. And I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to get in my box, and I'm just going to run and run and run. Because that's what I always do. And I'm tired of it, And that was a really good moment. You get to see a little bit more of how he actually feels. And which is something you don't get to see often, at least not with this Doctor. But when you actually see it, it's like, fuck. And you get to see across the entire Series 9 moments where he thinks that the implication of losing Clara happens, and that eventually comes back around in Face the Raven when she does actually die in front of him. And there's like 7 minutes when they're just talking about the inevitability of death, and Clara's just calming him the fuck down because she knows that he's a ticking nuke. He's a ticking fucking bomb. And she's trying to calm him the fuck down because she knows that he needs it. And kudos to Clara for being so fucking ballsy and brave, because that's the thing about Clara. Clara didn't give a shit. And this is what eventually kills her, quote unquote kills her. We'll get back to it in a second. But that's what made Clara so awesome, actually. The thing about Clara is that she didn't give a shit. Because she didn't give a shit in Series 8, but she was still kind of juggling between her personal life and just traveling. Series 9, she decided, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna fly around. That might be a way of running away from Danny Pink. She actually says it in Face the Raven. She actually says it in Face the Raven. She was like, maybe this is why I kept acting the way I did, you know? But that aside, 12th Doctor gets fucked in Face the Raven. At the end of the episode, you can see how fucked he is. You get to Heaven Sent. Best episode ever. Like, okay, so Heaven Sent, I just want to say again, I love Heaven Sent. Might be my favorite episode of Doctor Who ever. And the reaction I did doesn't do it justice. It doesn't do it justice. Like, a rewatch does it justice. A second rewatch does it even more justice, you know? It's an episode you have to rewatch many times to fully appreciate what it is. Which is something I did. In that episode I fucking love. But Heaven Sent fucks the Doctor. It is arguably the worst episode of Doctor Who for the Doctor as a character. Because the Doctor is trapped in what is essentially a time loop for 4.5 billion years. And all he does in that time loop is just wonder what the fuck is going on, trying to solve a mystery, run away from a childhood nightmare, solve the mystery, get to a 400 times harder than diamond wall, punch the wall down, do nothing, crawl around dying for a day and a half, and then die, and then do the whole thing over and over again. And there is an actual like discussion and conversation to have about, did the real Doctor die? And the answer is, fuck it, who cares, you know? You can argue, if you want to go down that route, then every time the Doctor has ever used a teleporter, he's dead. Because teleporters work in the exact same way they always worked in the Heaven Sent that they did before. So every time the Doctor used a teleporter of any kind, he died. And you got a new one. So deal with that if you don't want to deal with that. It could also not be real, or it could also be a weird thing of like the energy, the mind from a Doctor transfers into a new one. Because he actually does remember. He forgets until the wall and thinking of the word bird, and then he remembers, and he says, I remember it all. So that's why it's so fucked. Is because the Doctor has... Okay, so the Doctor doesn't actually remember the 4.5 billion years until that moment, and then he realizes what he's been doing for 4.5 billion years, and he actually remembers it all. But the thing is that memory is weird. Like, this would be a good thought experiment of like, how would that work? How would your memory work? And I thought about this a lot. How would your memory work if you forgot what you were doing, but you did the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? When you remember it, would you remember every time you did it? Or would you remember that you did it every time, but there wouldn't be any virtual difference in your head because you kept doing the same thing? So you would be thinking to one thing and said, oh, I did it multiple times. How would that work? Because every time he keeps thinking back to what happens before Heaven Sent, so that is still fresh in his mind. So after he gets the 4.5 billion years of thinking of being stuck here, he would still remember what happened before, because that was what he thinks about every time. So I don't think it makes that much of a difference other than the idea of, fuck, I've been here for 4.5 billion years. Hellbent fucks him over as well, and because he's essentially dealing with the repercussion of what happened in Face the Raven and Heaven Sent. And some people don't like Hellbent that much, and some people would argue that Hellbent does some things that it's like uncharacteristic of the Doctor, like how he shot the general dude, despite the Doctor always being against guns or always being like, I would never shoot a person. And even he said like regeneration, even though it doesn't kill you, it is kind of like dying. He said that. It is one of those things where it's like, he is in a very fucked emotional state. His best friend died right in front of him. He blames himself for it because he's like, I made Clara reckless, and Clara kept coming in these weird wack adventures with me, and it is my fault. So he blames himself for it. And then he also went through the fucked up thing that was Heaven Sent. And it is revealed in Hellbent that he's been doing that not because of the hybrid shit, but because he wanted to have a bargaining chip to save Clara in the same way that he's doing it in Hellbent through like that resurrection. It's not a resurrection. It's just like pulling you out of time, whatever. So, 12th Doctor had a really rough 3 episodes. Had a really rough season 9 finale. His psyche is pretty fucked. And then at the end of Hellbent, he forgets Clara. He knows Clara was there. He knows how much she meant to him, but he doesn't remember her. He doesn't remember how she looked like, or how she sounded like, or he doesn't remember how he felt about Clara. And that's the worst part, is that you don't remember how much you love your best friend. You know that it was there, but you don't actually feel anything towards that lack of memory because it's not there. So it's like, alright then, that's bad. And luckily then he gets River Song to like help him out, cope with everything for like 24 years. But then she dies as well. So it's like, and that takes us to Series 10. Did you like this half an hour introduction to get to Series 10? I did. Series 10 shows us a very different 12th Doctor. And I actually heard people, like the Blind Wave guys, for example, Eric, they said like they turned him more like a traditional Doctor. And I'm just like, no, this is just the final step of his evolution as a character. Because Series 10 12th Doctor is someone that finally settled the fuck down. He's someone that has been through so much that he's just like done. Kind of done. But in episode 1, you get to see he actually does miss the adventure. He does miss space and the universe and seeing it all. He does miss all of it. So when he finally meets Bill, and Bill's just fucking rad and cool, and he's like, God, I remember when I used to do that. Then they start doing it. Then they start just hanging out and traveling around, fucking tricking Nardole into thinking that they were not doing that for like 3 episodes. So, so I'm trying to put my thoughts together. Where do I want to go with this? But the Series 10 12th Doctor shows us a side of the 12th Doctor that is not intense and angry, but he's also not reckless, which is what he was in Series 9, because he let loose, but he was too loose. And the repercussions of that happened at the end of Series 9. They were partying too hard, and then everything went to shit. So now in Series 10, he's just like sitting in his office, and he's just like, I'm alright, I'm here, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my sad pictures of my granddaughter and my dead wife, and I'm just sitting here. And that's all I'm gonna do. Just gonna sit here. And eventually he's like, God damn it, I do want to go out. So he does so. But the thing is that this version of the 12th Doctor, and I think this comes clear in Thin Ice in episode 3, where he has this moment with Bill, where one of the kids died in front of him. He was sucked into the thing, and he managed to get the screwdriver, but he couldn't get the kid. And then Bill is like, do something, save him. He's like, I can't. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, he already got sucked in there. There's nothing I can do to change that. And Bill goes, do something, please. And the Doctor immediately goes, all right. And he just jumps to the other kid and goes like, okay, tell me where your kids are. Tell me what you're doing, what's happening. I need this information. And that's very telling of what kind of character the 12th Doctor is, because he's not someone that loses someone and he's like cries over it or gets super upset or anxious over it anymore. He used to be in Series 8. He didn't get sad over it, he got upset over it. He doesn't do that anymore. In Series 10, he literally sees it happen, and when Bill goes like, do something means do the next best thing that you can do, or the best thing you can do, which is not save the person, because that can't happen anymore. The best thing you can do in this scenario is make sure it doesn't happen again. So it jumps to the second kid, and he goes like, listen, tell me where you guys are. Tell me what's happening. Tell me everything because we need this information so you don't die too. So other kids don't die. That's the best thing we can do. Make sure it doesn't happen again. And he doesn't skip a fucking beat in doing so, by the way. If you go back and watch that moment, Bill tells him to do something, and he looks at her, and he immediately looks at the kid and goes like, okay, tell me. La 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 la, you know? And then Bill runs away. And he goes to Bill, and he's like, what's happening? And it's like she's very upset because she just saw someone die. She saw a kid die. And she's like, I never seen a kid die like that. And it's like, she asked him, why is he not upset? She asks him, how many times have you seen this? She asks him, well, she asks him, okay, how many times have you seen people die? And he's like, I lost count. And then she's like, have you ever killed someone? Because sometimes you got this look in your eyes and I wonder, and he's like, he doesn't answer. He actually tries to dodge it a little bit, or like word it better, which is sometimes the options you get are very limited, or like stuff like that. And then Bill says like, don't answer, you lost count. And it's like, yeah, but the 12th Doctor goes like, listen, I moved on from this kid dying already, like super fast. Bill hasn't, but he has. Because the thing is that I don't have time to do that because I need to save the next kid. And he says it in this wording. Okay, he says, I am over 2,000 years old, and I don't think he says it never. Okay, I don't remember how exactly he said it, but he's like, I don't have the time for the luxury of outrage. And I really, really like that line. Because that sounds dickish. It's not. It's super selfless. It's a super selfless thing to say. Because he's literally saying, I don't have time to grieve. Because I need to work so I can save that kid. I couldn't save the first one, I can save the second one. I don't have time to freak out over the first one because I need to make sure the second one survives. I really like that. And that tells you exactly what kind of person the 12th Doctor is. Bill mistakes him as someone that is heartless, someone that is very cold, very pragmatic, and in some ways he is. But she thinks he doesn't care. He does. It's just that he doesn't show it in an emotional reaction. He shows it through actions. And the action is, I'm gonna save this children. I'm not gonna cry or freak out or get angry over this child. But I'm immediately gonna jump into trying to figure out how to help the next one. Which, in a way, it is kind of the best thing you can do. The best thing you can do, to me, is someone that... It is... Okay, so it is indicative of a character that you can see and empathize with when someone gets upset or gets sad over someone dying. But he's been over that. We saw that in 8 and 9. Mostly 9. In 10... I'm talking seasons, not Doctors. But in the 10th season, in Series 10, he's done that because he's seen it all. He's been through so much in the end of Series 9 that now he's just like, I don't have time to waste. I need to save that fucking kid. I could sit here and cry, or I could go and help. And I'm just gonna go and help. So he does that. And next... And another thing that happens, like a couple minutes afterwards, is that they find all the children, and then Bill has this moment where she's talking to one of the children, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna help." And she's like, "Do you guys do anything other than yell at each other?" And she's like, "No, it's okay. I'm not angry at him anymore." And then she looks at him and goes like, "I moved on." and then they share a look, and the 12th Doctor has this look where it's like a knowing look, and I really like that because that and the line of like I moved on that Bill says it is because Bill realizes I cannot be upset at him because I need to help these kids. We're trying to get information. We're trying to see what course of action we're going to take. I don't have time to be upset at him because we need to work. And then when she's thinking that and she understands it is when she finally understands what the Doctor is doing. Is that he doesn't have time to be upset at what happened. He needs to help these fucking children. That's it. That's an amazing showing of what kind of character the 12th Doctor is. And I really like that through Bill. Through Bill is amazing. It's amazing that you get to see that, you get to feel it, you get to see how that works. Okay? And I like how all of that, in a way, they tell you, but it's also subtle. A lot of things about the 12th Doctor are subtle. A lot of things about the 12th Doctor are very nuanced. And I'm sad that a lot of people don't actually understand how that works or what the purpose and meaning was. But it's so good. It's so good. That is my favorite kind of character. Okay. And this version of the 12th Doctor, he also goes through shit when he goes blind in Oxygen. Yeah. Does he lose anything else? He loses the world for like half a year. So that's something. But like then okay. Let's talk about the Mystic thing. So in Extremis, was it Extremis? No, it was Lay of the Land, I think. No, there was it was Pyramid at the End of the World. That's the one. So in Pyramid at the End of the World, it is finally revealed that the person in the cage was Missy. I kind of call that, but it was Missy. And you actually get to see in Lay of the Land and in several other episodes after that, when the thing with Missy is that the Doctor is actually trying for Missy to learn the error of her ways. And it actually works. It actually works and you feel it. And the thing is that, like, the Doctor is teaching Missy to go through the same process, an arc, that he went from, like, 8 until 9. And there was a really good line of dialogue when Missy is like, I didn't even know that I knew their names. And the Doctor is like, I'm sorry, but this is good. And she's like, you didn't tell me about this bit. You didn't tell me how much it would hurt, you know? And it's this conversation where you get to see, this is how it feels, this is what it's like, and the Doctor knows it because he's also gone through that. And that is indicative of the kind of person the 12th Doctor is in series 10. Because now he's someone that is striving more than anything to be a kind person to everyone, to be nice to everyone, and to be understanding to everyone. Because he wasn't in series 8. That led to Kill the Moon. That led to Clara being super upset at him. He tried to change things in series 9. He tried to become a better person. There were moments, the one moment I keep thinking back to, which was a really good moment, is when Clara is handing him cue cards so he can, like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. I'm sorry for the loss of whatever. He's trying. He doesn't get all this human custom. He doesn't get how humans feel, but he's trying. He's doing a good conscious effort to try and be understanding to other people. He didn't get it. He doesn't get it, but he's trying to. He's trying to, and he's trying to make sure that other people don't get upset at him, and he's trying to be understanding and kind and make amends to people. In series 10, that is the final evolution of that version of him. When he's just kind the entire way. He is not the most expressive doctor. He's not the most emotional doctor, kind of the opposite. But he's always striving to do his best. He's always striving to be respectful. He's always striving to be nice. And you don't get to see that better than in the World Enough in Time and Doctor Falls. And I think Doctor Falls is one of the best fucking episodes of Doctor Who, despite not being what people wanted it to be, I think. Because here's the thing, World Enough in Time, there's so much shit that happens in it. The Doctor Falls, hardly anything happens in it. We run away from the Cybermen to this floor. The Cybermen come back. We try to fight them, but we can't. And we just blow up. And then the water chick shows up and we teleport to the TARDIS and that's it. Like, that's how that happens. But the thing about that is that it is... Someone described it to it as like a fucking Greek opera. Where the thing is that the Doctor... And this is an amazing way to have the 12th Doctor go. And it was originally meant to be the way he was gonna go. There wasn't supposed to be Twice Upon a Time at all, from what I understand. But it is an amazing way to have him to go, because you put him in a situation where all he can do is run away or sit here and die helping people. Not even helping people, trying to help people. He doesn't even know if he's gonna succeed. He doesn't even know if these people are gonna survive. He doesn't care. And nothing is... It is not shown more than in the moment when he has this talk with the Missy and the Master. And he's like, I'm not trying to win. This is not about winning, about beating someone, blaming someone. I'm not doing this because is... How does he say it? Like, I cannot make it justice. He's like... I'm actually gonna go and check. I legitimately wanna see that again. It's one of the best moments ever, so might as well watch it. It's not because it's fun, and God knows it's not because it's easy. And it's not even because it works, because it hardly ever does. I do what I do because it's right. Because it's decent. And above all, it's kind. It's just that. Just kind. That's the one. That's the one when you see the final point of the 12th Doctor's evolution. That's the final point of the 12th Doctor's evolution. You get to see it on its final episode. Well, Doctor Falls. And I really like where I am is where I stand, and where I stand is where I fall. That's one of my fucking best... That's one of the best lines ever. And it's because it's the 12th Doctor is this person. This is who he is. More than anything, he's kind. He's understanding. He wasn't initially, but he learned that. He learned it through his relationships. He learned it through Clara. He learned it through River. He learned it through the people he lost. He learned it through a bunch of things that happened in series 8 and 9 with Missy and with the Shielder. You can throw Bill and roll in there for a little bit. It's like he learned all of this through all these interactions, through his entire journey. He became a completely different person than what he was in any episode in series 8. Any of them. Go watch them. Go watch them. They're not the same person Doctor Falls to series 8. And the reason why that is because he grew. He grew, he learned, he became a better person. And he learned to hold those ideals so close to him that he's just like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna keep doing them until I die, until it kills me. Because I'm not the kind of person that would run away. I'm not the kind of person that would do anything other than die trying to save these people. Even if I know it's not gonna work. Even if I know it's fucking futile and no one's gonna live. But if there's even like a 0.5% chance that one person might survive longer than they would have otherwise, I'm gonna die here because that is worth it. That's the kind of person he is. He knows it and he doesn't care. And he's like, I'm gonna die and you're gonna die too. And but like the question is, why would you die for? This is what I would die for. And he asked his master, and the master is like, I didn't listen. Even though I think he did, and then Mrs. did. But it's like, fast forward, and it's like, the thing is that, like, that entire episode felt so helpless because it was. There's no solution to the problem. The 12th Doctor literally just goes to his Cyberman and starts blowing shit up until they shoot him dead. Until they just shoot him until he can't move anymore, and he's like, alright, I'm done. And everything just blows up. It's like, I'm done. That's it. That's the end of my life. I'm ready to go. I'm done. Because there's nothing he would do rather than to just die trying to save people. That's the kind of person the 12th Doctor is. And just like the entire sequence when he's just fighting the Cybermen, they just shoot him, and he's just like, because that entire thing is like the Doctor has completely acknowledged the fact that he's gonna die. He's 100% willing and even maybe trying to die just to make sure these people can survive a while longer. Just for that. And I love that about the 12th Doctor more than anything else. That's why he's my favorite Doctor. Like, Series 8, Peter Capaldi was, performance alone was carrying the whole thing for me. I was so into it because of his performance alone. Series 9, he becomes a rock star, but he's a reckless rock star. That's what he is. In Series 9, they let loose so much. He does, and Clara does, and they just go wild, and then consequences happen. And in Series 10, he has finally settled down. He's mellowed out, and he's like, I'm good. I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna live my life, and I'm gonna help whenever I can. He gets tempted by the adventure, but even in the adventure, he's no longer as crazy as he used to be in Series 9. But that's the thing, is that in Series 10, that's the final point of his evolution. He's tired, and he's wise, and he helps, and he's understanding and kind of everyone. He wasn't initially, he is now. That was his journey was all about. His journey wasn't about making him more epic or like more intense. He began as that, and then he went into the nicer, kinder, and more understanding direction, which to me is so much more appealing than a character that is just like angrier or like more intense or I don't know how to describe him, but just like, I don't want a character that is burning like fire. I want a character that learned not to do that because he realized that wasn't the way. That's the kind of Doctor I want. That's the kind of character I want in general. So I love that was the 12th Doctor's journey. It's my favorite journey of anyone to have. Any character, I mean, not necessarily the Doctor. Just like, whenever you present me a character that is just kind of an asshole, and they learn not to be, and their entire journey is about learning how to be nice and kind and understanding to everyone. That's what the main journey is about. I'm like, fuck yeah, give me that shit. And not about trying to redeem necessarily, but just about learning, oh, I shouldn't do that. I should be better than this. And becoming that. Because you understand that you being that way is worse for everyone. Not only you, but also everyone around you. And you decide not to be that. Because you care. And you're just going to be nice from now on. You're just going to be understanding. That's what the 12th Doctor is. I love that so much. I love that character journey so much. It's my favorite ever. Okay, so I just talk about the 12th Doctor for like an hour. Let's talk about other shit. Let's talk about, this is supposed to be a Series 10 talk. Let's talk about Bill and Ardol. Fucking love Bill and Ardol. Holy shit. They might be my favorite companion crew we had ever. And I'm sad it only lasted one season. Come on, guys. I love that so much. Because I love Bill so much because Bill is so casual. Bill is such a real chick. She's such a real girl. And I love that so much. Bill is so normal. And that's my favorite thing about Bill. I feel like they tried to do that with Rose. But for some reason, Rose didn't really do it for me. Bill did. Bill did it so well. And I love Bill so much. And I love how Bill's thing is that Bill is so unapologetically herself. And she's never going to be anything that is not herself. And you can see it in Dr. Fall. She's like, Doctor, I don't want to live if I'm not me. So just fucking kill me if I ever become not me. So it's like, and like the reason why she fucking carried on despite the Cyberman conversion is because her brain was just like too stubborn. She was too stubborn to be converted. She was like, no, I'm Bill. So she was Bill. It's still in her mind despite her body not being it. You know, it's like, that's so good. I love that so much. I love that so much about Bill. And Nardole is the fucking best. I love Nardole. I love Nardole so much. He might be my favorite companion. Just in general. Maybe. Because the thing is that Nardole initially was like a comic relief character in River Song. But then when we move over to what's the name? The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Fantastic name. They turn him into an actual character, and he's so much different than what he was in Husbands of River Song. And some people might say it's just like, well, it's weird to have characters be so different, and it's like, let's say there has been at least a 24-year time skip in between River Song and Mysterio, so whatever change of character Nardo might have had, I'm just gonna say, yeah, fine. Because 24 years is a lot of time. I'm 23, dude. Like, 24 years is more than enough to turn you into a completely different person. So Nardo being a completely different person, I'm totally fine with that. So, we get to, we get to the pilot, we get to the Series 10 in general. Nardo is the shit. Because Nardo is the Doctor's butler. He's the Doctor's butler, and he is done with his shit. He's done with everyone's shit. He doesn't tolerate humans even, but he's also the comic relief. Like he's both. I compared him to Speedwagon from JoJo a couple times because that's how I felt about him a couple times, because he is some sort of like an audience segue into the show. It's not a self-insert, but sometimes he says shit that we are thinking. It's like the Doctor says something cool in Mysterio, and then Nardo was like, hey! And I'm like, yeah, Nardo. Yeah, cheer for me. You know, it's so good. But then there's a lot of moments where Nardo is like, he's saying badass shit, and then 2 seconds later, he's like, he's so scary, and it's scary. It's like, oh my god. He's so fun. He's such a fun character because he's the Doctor's butler. He's kind of an asshole. He is kind of an asshole, but it's played out as a joke, not as a drama. So that's fine. So they do that. He's kind of a dick. But at the end of his journey, like they make an effort to say like, no, Joel, you're gonna have to learn how to deal with humans because you're gonna have to take care of them. And he's like, God fucking damn it, fine, you know, I'm gonna learn how to take care of humans. And I thought that was a really nice way to end his character, because he's everything, man. Nardo is the shit. I love that so much. And the combination of the 12th Doctor and Bill and Nardo is just like the best Doctor main cast companion group we've had. to me. Like, because like I loved in series during the Russell T Davies era whenever we had more than one companion going on. So Jack, Mickey, fucking Jackie, and Sarah Jane, like whenever we had more than one companion, I love that. Like we had a crew, and I loved it so much. That is actually one of the things I really like about Series 11 of Doctor Who too. They're not my favorite crew, Bill and Ardell are, but they're pretty high up because I like just the idea of having a crew, and also Graham is the shit. Another character that I feel like is very important to talk about is Missy. Missy came back from Series 8. I mean, she was at the beginning of Series 9, but then we didn't get to see her that much. Series 10, she comes back. And she is amazing because she's a version of the Master who's trying to become better. Well, the Doctor tries to make sure that she becomes a better person, and he succeeds. And it's amazing because you do get to see that Missy grows as a character. And, like, the thing is, Miss is my favorite incarnation of the Master. Missy is my favorite incarnation of the Master because I actually really, really like her, not only her personality, but like her cadence, like her demeanor, the way she says things. She's like this very deadpan, like kind of like, yeah, whatever kind of thing. But she says some crazy shit, but she does it into like deadpan, dismissive way, and that is so good. That is so good because there's a difference between being crazy and being like, oh yeah, whatever, crazy. There's a difference between and also being crazy and being emotive in any way, and then there's being dismissive and just kind of talking like this, just you just kind of blow up a can. That's it. Like this is whatever, that the way she does everything is so good to me. And then she goes like, wee, but she's still kind of like, she's kind of like asleep, not asleep, but just like kind of just running on coffee. Like that's it. She's just kind of low energy, but she's still kind of nuts, and I love that. I love that so much about Missy, and that's not on Missy. That's on Michelle Gomez, because I actually, like I said, I've been watching a couple panels with the Doctor Who cast. Michelle Gomez is like that. Michelle Gomez, whenever she talks or says anything, she's acting like that as well. That's just the way she is. She says a joke in that manner, and it's the funniest shit ever, even if the joke wasn't, because if just the delivery of just like this is deathbed, just like I'm done kind of way, and that's so good. I love that so much. Michelle Gomez is fantastic, dude. So many good actors for Doctor Who Series 10. Fucking Capaldi, amazing Doctor. She's so fucking good. Michelle Gomez, best Master, so fucking good. Bill and Ardell did an amazing job. Matt Lucas is the shit. Like apparently Matt Lucas is kind of a big deal. I didn't know that. Like apparently he's a really good comedian. So I don't know him because I don't know British comedians. Like I don't necessarily know much about the Star Wars either. So when I saw Matt Lucas, I was just like, that's not Ardell. But apparently he's a big boy, and he's great. He's the best. But like, dude. Okay, so, I think I talk about enough about a specific characters, main cast, all that shit. I think we're at that part of the video where I talk about. I'm gonna write this down. I don't know if it's gonna matter. I'm just writing things down now, but we're at that part of the video where I'm just gonna talk about each episode individually. Okay, the pilot. This is something I like about the pilot. I like that about the pilot. Oh, I should talk about the return of Dr. Mysterio, shouldn't I? Dr. Mysterio, such a good episode. I love the return of Dr. Mysterio so much. Because the return of Dr. Mysterio, it is dumb superhero bullshit, but it's so fun. There's so many things that are so fun about the return of Dr. Mysterio, and that makes me love it so much. It makes me love it so much. I actually just... Okay, follow me on this one. I don't know when this is gonna air. Oh, I think it will still be going. But like, there is a bundle in humblebundle.com right now. And it's a Doctor Who bundle. And it comes with comic books and audiobooks. And for $1, I got the comic 10 Doctor Volume 3, the comic 11 Doctor Volume 3, the comic 12 Doctor Volume 3, the comic Doctor Who Ghost Stories, which is the ghost. I see him on the cover. I haven't read it. I'm gonna. But Ghost Stories. He has an actual comic book, which makes so much sense because he's a superhero. He's a comic book superhero, so might as well make a comic about him too. And then 7 Doctor Volume 1, 4 Doctor Collection, Gaze of the Medusa, and then like 5 or 6 unit audiobooks and 1 Destination of Nerva with the 4th Doctor. For $1, by the way. And there's even more if you want to go to 8, or more if you want to go to 15. So if you haven't checked this out, you just get the raw comic book files and raw audio files for $1. I dropped $1 in it. I am seriously considering doing the $8 one because it comes with like 3 Eccleston comics, and I love me some Eccleston, and 1 with 11, 10, and 9, so that's really good. 1 for 12, that's really good, and more unit audiobooks. If you want to go to like the $15 one, there's like 3 10 Doctor audiobooks, 1 with the 7th Doctor. I really want that one. McCoy's the shit. There's like 9 more comic books. There's so much shit, dude. But like, the fact that there's a ghost comic book it makes so much sense, and it's so fun because you wouldn't expect there to be, but fuck it, there is. He's a comic book hero. Let's make a comic book about the Doctor Who comic book hero, even though he shows up for only 1 episode. Fuck it, you know. So I'm gonna be reading that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But okay, question, completely unrelated to anything. Should I read those on video? Because I don't think I can. I don't think I can just show the whole comic on a video. I think that is no, copyright no. So maybe I'm not gonna do that. And I think that reading it on my own, and you guys follow me on it if you want to read it alongside me, I don't think that's also good. So maybe I'm just gonna read it on my own. But should I do a review of it? Like, I don't know, man. I never done something like that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, if you know other people that have read these comics and maybe made some video content out of them, tell me. But anyway, I know that Alex from 7 Hour Films does like reviews of the audios of Doctor Who, but I never watched. I never watched those videos. I also don't. I've never heard one of these Doctor Who audios. I might now that I own a couple of them with Unit and with Tom Baker, so maybe I'll do that. But I don't know. I have troubles focusing on audio. I'm getting super sidetracked. The pilot. What I like about the pilot. Fuck, I was talking about Mysterio. Dr. Mysterio is it's a fantastic episode because it's so fun. It's silly and it's fun, and that's all I want out of my Doctor Who. That's an amazing standalone episode. I love it so much. Moving on. The pilot. The pilot, what I like about it is the fact that it is an entry point to Doctor Who. I wouldn't recommend you to start at the pilot, but you can if you wanted to. And it helps because there's not many entry points for Doctor Who. And if there is a random kid who is like 6 years old and that kid has never seen Doctor Who, and he hears kids in the playground going like, "Yo, Doctor Who's coming back," and he's like, "What is Doctor Who?" They go, "Oh, watch this Saturday at whatever time it's gonna be on TV," and then the kid goes and watches, and it's like, "Yo, that's cool. The time and relative." Oh, and it's like, because it's a really good introduction for anyone, the pilot. So if a random kid just happens to start there, fantastic. That kid's set, okay? So I think the pilot does an amazing job of being an intro point, even though I wouldn't recommend you to enter through the pilot, but it is a good intro point in case anyone just catches it. And it's like, oh, what is this about? You got all you need to know there. Moving forward, I mean, that said, the pilot, not that great of an episode. There is a cameo of the Mobelan. That's it, Mobelans, from the story Destiny of the Daleks. Okay, there we go. So I knew that, like, okay, so when I saw them, I was like, they look weird, they look interesting, maybe there's something. And then people ask me like, "Did you recognize it?" And I'm like, "Fucking didn't," but I can see that they're probably a classic thing, and I checked it out, and yes, they are. And I just looked up their name, and it's Timbervillains from Destiny of the Daleks. So it was cool to have it referenced just in the background, just in the background, just doesn't matter, but it's there in case you know him, and that's pretty cool. But other than that, I feel like the pilot isn't that great of a story, but it's okay because it's an intro story. So, what are you gonna do? We move forward to Smile. Smile's not that great. Smile's not that great. It's alright, but it's not that great. You know, it's I don't know what to say it is because it's one of those weird, wacky, futuristic kind of we're dealing with this murderous alien life form thing. Even though it's not an alien, it's like robot, but it's like okay. The solution of it was kind of cool, which is like, oh, you're a new emerging life form. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. That was kind of cool. But ultimately, it's like, I'm not sure how I feel about this whole conflict. This is a little bit weird. Grief as a virus is it kind of works, you know, but the idea of having a robot that you create, an AI, that just murders you while thinking that it's helping you, it's not entirely original. So I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it too much. So it is an average episode, if you ask me. However, we move on to Thin Ice, episode 3. Thin Ice is pretty good. The whole thing with like the beast in the grotto or whatever wasn't that interesting. What was interesting was a lot of the interactions between the Doctor and Bill and just the other guys and just everything. All of that was fantastic. All of that was the best. So I enjoyed Thin Ice a lot because of it. I actually mentioned it earlier in this video when the Doctor and Bill are having this conversation of like moving on and how do you deal with this and why are you so cold sometimes. All that stuff was amazing. Also, there's this very nice moment where an asshole is being racist to Bill, and Bill just kind of freezes. So does the audience because it's like, fuck. And the Doctor immediately goes like, all right, boom. Just like, order! You're fucked. And that was great. So that was really good. And there's some nice moments in there. You know, he gives this like meaningful little speech, and then Bill is like, are you really to us in your soul? I was just wondering how long it would take for someone to come up with a speech like that, you know? So a bunch of nice little moments like there. At the end, it's also like not always like comes with the tea that he promised on episode 1, and it's like everyone's wearing different clothes, and he's like, you went off planet, and he's like, look at this clothes. Does it look like off planet clothes to you? It's like, fuck you. And then he's like, oh, let's do a coin toss to see if we keep going or not. And he wins the contest because he learned the coin toss trick from the fisherman. So continuity, you know? So that's kind of fun. So it was better than Smile in every way, I think. Then we got Knock Knock. And I actually did enjoy Knock Knock. I can see Knock Knock being just a weird, doesn't matter episode, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy Knock Knock because I enjoy having this like fucking 6 characters in this running around that are part of the issue. It's just like we're trapped in a house. There's this like weird dad alien. There's this weird, not even the dad, is the son of the woman that was supposed to die like 70 years ago, and the aliens turned her into wood so they could save her, and they need to keep eating people for energy in order to sustain that, you know? So it was weird. It was fun. I thought it was fun more than anything. There's a hidden David Bowie reference in the background too. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, there's not much to say about that one. At the end, though, I think that was the episode where I actually said Mrs. in the Vault, because the Doctor literally goes into the vault. I think he's like, and there's a piano. Yeah. And he goes like, a lot of people died, and then starts playing piano more cheerfully, and I'm like, oh, that's probably Missy. So I think that was it. Then we move on to the good shit. Then we go move on into like fucking 4 episodes of pure fire, and it's Oxygen, Extremis, Pyramid at the End of the World, and Light of the Land. Oxygen is really good. Oxygen is really good. I really like how halfway through it, the doctor just goes blind because he saves Bill because Bill's helmet just breaks, and then the doctor just gives her his own helmet, and then he suffers the consequences of being out in space, which was established at the beginning of the episode, and he just goes blind. And I like that they trick us into thinking that he didn't, and that he fixed his eye, and then at the end he's like, no, I can't, I'm blind, you know. So that was pretty cool. But like I really like the issue, which the issue with that episode was literally capitalism, and we caused the end of capitalism too in that episode, because yeah, because that happens. It's like we're killing these workers in this mining facility because they're being inefficient. They're not as productive as we wish they were. So we're just gonna kill them because they're wasting expensive resource that is air. So we're just gonna kill them and send in replacements. And the solution to that was like, okay, we're gonna hardwire our life signals to the ship, and if we ever die, the ship blows up. Or not the ship, the station blows up. And you lose billions of dollars in the process, yeah. I think that's what I hear. And then immediately when he says that, immediately the suits go like, okay, we're gonna give you our air, you're gonna be safe, you're gonna be fine. And it's like, oh my god, you fucking assholes, you fucking sons of bitches, you know. So that's what happens, and it's this fucking space late stage capitalism thing, you know. And I like that the doctor is like, yeah, well, we had that, and I apparently later on I start they go and like the two surviving dudes go and complain to head office, and they're like, with you are thinking like, would that work? I don't know. But then the doctor says like, well, if I recall correctly, like some riots and shit start happening as a result later on in the upcoming years, and then they took down power or whatever, and that about wraps it up for capitalism. And I'm like, oh, okay, we literally caused the end of capitalism right there, huh? Sure. It's kind of sad that we let it go to that point, but you know, all right. So moving forward, we move on to Extremis. Extremis is fucking fire, dude. Extremis is so good. If Extremis is not the best episode in the season, it is the second or third best episode in the season. Extremis is fucking awesome, because the thing about Extremis is that the entire episode is just the Doctor watching an episode of Doctor Who on his sunglasses. So, Extremis happens entirely within a computer simulation that aliens have devised in order to see what humanity is like and what they would do. So then you get to know all the information you need to know. So then you can invade Earth at the moment that you need to invade Earth. The best moment for you to invade Earth, you know when it's gonna be. You know the strategic points. You know everything about humanity you need to know. So you know exactly when to show up in order to conquer the planet. I really like that idea so much. I really like that we did an episode inside of a simulation. Because the thing about reality being a simulation is that it's a fantastic concept. It's a really fun concept, because it's one of those like fucking stoner things that you think about, and it's like, would it even fucked up if nothing was real, bro, and we were all living in a computer simulation, which actually was like a computer running on like a giant stove or what? I don't know. Because the thing is that the secrets of what reality itself are, we don't know. We legitimately have no fucking clue how anything is. We have an understanding of smaller degree things, but we don't understand how anything happened. How reality itself came to be. Why does it exist? And and you're never gonna get answers. And like reality being a simulation is one of those things that it's like could be, you don't know, but at the same time, then you have to explain well what the existent reality. How did that come to be? Like the actual real reality, not mine, not the simulation, but like the next one. How did that came to be? How does that one exist? And you keep going this like weird rabbit hole of like at the end of the day we know nothing, we know jack shit. So let's go wild and let's just come up with whatever fucking bullshit we can think about because fuck it, we don't know anything. And I like that, and I like that this episode was that. It's like we're living, we're just hanging out, and it's like, oh shit, we're not real. Nothing's real. Okay. Uh, and I remember when I watched Extremis, part of me was a little bit disappointed because I thought the entire season would have been a simulation. Like that's what I actually thought. And it wasn't. It was just that one episode. And it's because I forgot what happened at the beginning of the episode when the doctor got the email. But in hindsight, that episode as a standalone is just on its own, just taking it for what it's doing. Fantastic. It's a fantastic episode. There's so much in it that happens. With the Vatican, with the Pope, with the CERN and everything. It's just amazing. It's so good. It's so good. There's also like one of the funniest, if not the funniest scene in Doctor Who ever, which is when Bill is having this like really meaningful conversation with this other chick about being in a relationship, and then the Pope walks in and starts screaming in Italian, and he just walks away, and then the chick is like, Bill, that was the Pope. What was the Pope doing there? And then Bill walks in there, and there's just this entire congregation of priests sitting there in their bed. And then the chick sees that, and she doesn't say it. She just runs away. She just runs away, and it's the funniest shit ever. And then Bill walks into the doctor's and goes like, Doctor, when I'm trying to have a date with a girl, don't under any circumstance bring the Pope into my living room. Like, oh my god, that's so good. That was so good. I love that so much. Extremis is such a good episode, man. And then we move to Pyramid at the End of the World, and the same gag happens, but different. It's like, it's not the Pope, but it's a proper representative of the UN. And it's like, all right, I'm looking for the president. You know? Oh my god. Pyramid is actually really good. I really like Pyramid because I liked having this thing happen off screen, with not off screen, but like in screen, but like outside of what our main characters know, which is like the virus is spreading through small ripples that cause it. You know, my glasses broke, I was drunk last night, and I fucked up one number, and suddenly I created a virus that eradicates all life on Earth. Cool. It's like all that shit happening at the same time as the episode is happening, and then at the very end, the doctor is like, got it, and he finally gets there, and they finally converge, and that is really cool. I really like having that happen simultaneously to our main characters. I don't necessarily want to follow our main crew the entire time. I want something different to be happening, you know? And that's really good, and it converged, and it was really fun. But at the end, the doctor regains his eyesight at the cost of the entire world being lost because of Bill. Then we get to Lie of the Land. By the way, this is a 3-parter. You can argue a 4-parter because the oxygen blindness carried on to Extremis, which carried on to Pyramid, and it was the cause at the end of the Pyramid that created Lie of the Land. So it is a 3-parter. You can argue it's a 4-parter, but fucking having a 3-parter, we don't do that, dude, and we should. We really should have stories that take multiple episodes, because that's what Classic was. Classic was like every season had like 4 stories total, but each story would be like 4 episodes long. And I'm just like, we should do that. Maybe not 4, but we can do 3. And because like, okay, here's the thing, and this is why I actually really like this three-parter, and it's because the conflict wasn't the same. The conflict in each episode, it was connected, but it wasn't the same. And that is a difference to regular two-parters and to classic Doctor Who. Classic Doctor Who, you have the same story, the same conflict happening, it's just divided into 4 episodes. Here, the conflict was different every episode. Because in Extremis, the conflict is like, oh shit, reality is a simulation. And there's an alien race that might try to take over Earth. In Pyramid at the End of the World, we actually get to see the alien race show up on Earth, and they're like, alright, Doomsday Clock, 2 minutes to midnight, let's go. It's about to go down. You need to ask her for help so we can conquer you. And we get to see the disease, the virus thing being formed, and it's like, that is the conflict. And then at the end of the episode, they do take over Earth, and then during Lay of the Land, the conflict is taking Earth back from the monks. Each episode had a different plot, a different conflict happening. They were tied together. One led to the other, but it wasn't the same story. It was different points at which the story develops. It was 3 separate stories that together form a saga. And that's what I loved so much about it. Lay of the Land, people have said that it felt a little rushed, and I'm like, I can see that. I actually do think it was a little rushed how they solved that. Some people have also said that apparently, like, I think it was like Moffat's mom died around the time that they were working on it, so Moffat didn't work on it as much as one would hope. So that could be a reason why Life of the Land felt a little underwhelming. They did do this fake off with the regeneration thing, but I was like, all right, that's fake. I didn't buy it. So that didn't do much for me. We got the Misty thing. The Misty thing was good because whenever Misty was on screen this season, it was pretty good. And then Bill, through her power of her brain alone, managed to save the world. So that was kind of neat. But ultimately, kind of simple. But what are you gonna do? Empress of Mars. Okay, so here's when we actually start doing episodes that don't matter that much again. But I really like Empress of Mars. I legitimately did like Empress of Mars a lot, and I did like the way Erexa, the Empress herself, looked, and she sounded. Everything about her was amazing, and I was a big fan of her. But yeah, it kind of doesn't matter too much. There was a reference to classic Doctor Who with what's the name of the thing? What's the name of this fucking alien? I forgot. I'm gonna actually take a look. Alpha Centauri, wasn't? Alpha Centauri, yeah, the weird eye thing. That is a classic reference, I think, from the third Doctor's era. I didn't watch that episode, but I when it was happening, I was like, that might be a classic reference. I checked it, and it turns out that it was. So I do like when they do classic reference, even if I don't get them, because it does help. It does help having the continuity of this is the same show, because it is. It is the same show. I want the modern series to acknowledge it as the classic one as much as they possibly can every time. So that's what I want. So whenever they did that, even if I personally didn't get it, I think it's really cool. We move forward to Eaters of the Light. I like going backwards in time. That's something I really like. There's some cool stuff with 2 sides of children that are at war, essentially, but none of them, like, they didn't cause the war. They're just also victims in it, and they come to an understanding through it. That storyline is pretty good. There's a little bit of Missy at the end, of course. The fact that the crows knew how to talk in Doctor Who canon, but they just started repeating caw every time because of the girl that died defending them. It's like, that's fucking stupid, but I love it. That's the kind of shit that I love. World Enough in Time might be the best episode of Doctor Who this season. Might be. World Enough in Time, so much shit happens in it. It was so well directed. It was so good everything. Like the moment Bill is shot and they just show it to you, show the big gaping hole, and then it hard cuts into like, Doctor, I don't think this is a good idea. And then we kept having this conversation between the Doctor and Bill goes like, okay, promise me something. Promise you won't get me killed. And then hard cuts to Bill just standing there with that fucking hole. That hit me so hard. So hard. When he saw it, the hard cut with the sound cue of like, boom. It's like, ah, ah. That's such great direction. That's such great direction. It was so good. And then the whole thing of like Bill is living like a full decade or decades underneath that, or being converted into a cyborg because of her hole, and living in this like half life where she can't leave that place, while the doctor, the entire thing to the doctor is like 1 minute. So we kept seeing the doctor talk for like 1 minute and get into Bill, and by the time he gets to Bill, it's been like a full decade for her. And when he actually gets to Bill, Bill is no longer Bill. It's Cyber Bill. It's a Cyberman. And then the reveal of like, oh shit, John Sim came back. What? John Sim was the fucking hobo all along. It's like, fuck you. Like that's so good. That's so, just so much shit happens in World Enough in Time. I think it's one of the best one-parters. First part for a two-parter that we've ever had. Maybe the best one ever. But it's just so fucking good. So much shit happens in it. So much. And there's so many fun concepts that I like. Like, for example, the shit that is super long and time moves at so faster than it does at the front of it. Time at the back moves so much faster. It's like, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. I love it so much. And then the reveal that like the ship came from Mundus, Mundus. Oh shit. That's where the Cyberman originated from. Like, thank you people for letting me know to watch 10th Planet while I was watching Series 10. It did spoil things a little bit because I kind of knew what to expect as soon as I saw the cues. I was like, oh, so that's the link. But at the same time, it was fucking great. It was fucking great, okay? I am so glad I did that. So, then we go to Dr. Falls, and I talk about Dr. Falls a little bit already, but Dr. Falls is so good. It's such a good send-off for Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. For Bill and Erdol and everyone. And Missy too. And it's just like the whole... Bill is too stubborn. Her brain is so unapologetic with Bill that she cannot see herself as anything other than Bill. The Doctor is just like... The Doctor is like being the best he has ever been. The kindest, the nicest he's ever been, and fighting for what he believes the most. Very idealistic. It's the final evolution of the 12th Doctor. Missy dying to herself. Missy and the Master literally stab each other in the back. One stabs the other one in the back. The other one shoots the one other in the back. And Missy finally turns around and tries to help the Doctor at the end. But the Doctor will never know that. He thinks she left. He always thinks she probably left. And didn't try to come back to help him. Even though she did. Without witness, without hope, without reward. The whole thing with the Doctor fighting the Cyberman, and he completely embraces death. He's like, this is it. Just, there's so many good lines in that episode too. The one that fucking got me was, pity no stars, I hope there be stars. It's like, oh my god, Starman. The Starman is not getting anything. He just dies in this one spaceship fighting this war. But at the end of at the end of Doctor Falls, we get to see, and I talk about this on at the beginning of Twice Upon a Time. So if you're gonna go watch that, do that. But at the end of at the beginning of Twice Upon a Time, I said that here at the end of Doctor Falls, when he refuses to regenerate, I didn't understand why. And I think that in Twice Upon a Time, they were making this thing of like, I'm tired, I just kind of want to die, you know? But the way I take it, the way I took it more than anything, is that he has learned so many good core beliefs and ideals across his time as the 12th Doctor. You know, he's learned to be kind, which it wasn't immediately. He learned to be understanding, which it wasn't immediately. He learned to listen to people and to be the best person he can possibly be. It took him a long time, though, and it took him a lot of hard work and a lot of really bad experiences for him to get there. So when he finally gets there, that is so important to him that he rather die than to become someone that is not that, right? That also means at the end of the episode, again, he says he refuses to regenerate, and the reason why I think he refuses to regenerate right there in Dr. Falls is because he's like, I would rather die than the possibility of turning into someone that doesn't have the same values that I have right now. You can turn into a new 12th Doctor from Series 8 that doesn't have the same values you have right now. And he's like, I would rather die than to turn into that again, you know? And that is so fucking good. That is so good and indicative of what kind of character the 12th Doctor is. Given, I will admit, I could be reading too much into things that could just be not what it is. I think that's what it is. And if you want to call me crazy about that, you can do that. But that's literally what I think it is. And I think the episode wasn't as well written as it could have been. Because they didn't go too hard into what I just said. Yes, I am so far up my own ass. I'm saying the episode didn't do what it should have done. That's how much of an asshole I'm being right now. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. I feel like the 12th Doctor, you could have made it more of a point of like, he doesn't want to regenerate because he doesn't want to be a version that is not kind. And the one thing that actually does give a lot of credence to that is that, moving to Twice Upon a Time, when he finally does regenerate, the final moments you get with him, here's the thing, is that final moments with each Doctor are very indicative of what they are. Let's focus on modern Doctors. With the 9th Doctor, he regenerates thinking Rose was awesome, but at the end he's like, you know what? So was I. And that's really good because he was the Doctor who was struggling with what he did in the Time War. He was the war vet Doctor. But at the end of the road, he's like, I was alright. And then he finally lets go. The 10th Doctor, Tennant, he was so self-absorbed, that at the end when he dies, he's like, I don't want to go. And then he goes. But like, he literally regenerated into himself once. Given that was probably the best course of action at that point, but it's still like, he did so much shit for himself alone. He loved being himself, so unapologetically so, that when he finally has to go, he has a full breakdown when he hears the knocks from Wilfred. He's like, it's not fair! But then he's like, I lived too long. You know? He finally realizes, no, I need to go. But then even at the end, he's like, I don't wanna... But then he finally goes. Matt Smith it was like this, like, Amy shows up for a second, it's like, oh, and he is some kind of weird motivational speech, but at the end of the day, I feel like Matt Smith just kind of accepted it. I feel he was just like, all right, get it done, get it over with, I'm done. That's it, I understand, time to go. And he just that was it. Given he also like spent like 900 years being him, that version of himself, over like 1,100. So it's like a long time being Matt Smith. So it's like fuck that, I'm out. You know, when you get to Peter Capaldi's regeneration, he literally gives a to-do list for 13. He literally gives a to-do list for the next Doctor. He's like, I'm gonna go back to check and read it verbatim, exactly what it is, because dude, it's very important what he says. Oh, toggle subtitles, yeah. He says, "You wait a moment, Doctor, let's get it right. I got a few things to say to you. Basic stuff first. Never be cruel, never be cowardly, never ever eat pears. Hate is always foolish, and love is always wise. Always try to be nice, but never fail to be kind." Then the whole thing with the children and the name, that was really nice, but it wasn't necessarily helpful. And then, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. Doctor, I let you go. That's it. And I love that so much, because that is like, you wait a minute, Doctor. Couple things I need to say to you. A couple things you need to know before you come along. Okay? Listen. Never be cruel. Never be cowardly. Good. Hate. Stupid. Love. Great. Focus on that. Always try to be nice. Never fail to be kind. And in Series 9, he actually said something like that. And he was like, and if you are, always make amends. And I really like that. I would like for him to have included that there, but it would be repeated. It would be repeating too much, so I guess not. And then he's like, and then of course, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. That is it. That is what the Doctor should be in 3 sentences, in 6 words. Laugh hard. Laugh hard. Remember that you're always doing this in order to appreciate things, to enjoy things, to see everything for what it is, to always to not ever get too distracted from sight of why you're doing this, which is ultimately for fun. Or not for fun, but like in order to enjoy life. So make sure you enjoy life, because that's what's most important in a way. Second, run fast. Laugh hard, run fast. Yeah, it's run fast. The second is run fast. It's like, never stop. Keep going. Keep going. And I once deconstructed every single one of these. I'm forgetting what I thought back then. But I really want to deconstruct this final words. But run fast does essentially mean don't stop. Don't ever stop. Keep going. There's always more. There's always more for you to see, and enjoy that shit. So fucking go. Don't necessarily look back. Don't get dragged by the past. Keep looking onwards, because there's always more. You need to focus on that. The final one, be kind. That is the most important, actually. And it's the fact that you need to understand people. You need to listen to them. You need to be nice to them. And you need to do what you can in order to help them. That's what you should do. That's who you should be. And the fact that he just gave all of these rules, almost, all of this to-do list for the upcoming Doctor, for 13. Some people might get upset by what I'm about to say. I don't give a shit. I think the 13th Doctor, I think Jodie Whittaker, she is the way she is because that's the kind of Doctor 12 wanted to become. 12 wanted to become all the things that he just mentioned. Jodie fits all of those. Jodie is all of those. Jodie is nice, she's kind, she's understanding, she's very open, she's always like cheerful and always looking forward and being like, oh, what's that, what's this, but at the same time she's always takes time to talk to her people. She always takes time to understand, she always takes time to hang out with them and make sure they're safe, to make sure they're right, like she always steps back and has the moment to talk, to exchange words for understanding and for a solution through conversation. The one thing I want the most out of anything ever, if we ever get a 60-year anniversary and Peter Capaldi comes back, is I want to see the 12th Doctor and the 13th Doctor interact, and I want this, what I'm saying right now, to be addressed in some way, shape, or form, with the 12th Doctor being like, what kind of person are you, or did you follow my instructions or something like that, and the acknowledgement of like, you are what I hope you would be, because I feel like the 12th Doctor took the brunt of it. He took all the hard things that would have to happen for you to become a nice, kind person, and the 13th Doctor is the version of like, now I can finally be this and this alone, now I can finally focus on this. Old guy, he took the worst of it, and he did all the heavy lifting and all the hard work in order for me to exist. And of course, then you can start the argument of like, I don't think it works like that because regeneration is random. It's actually not. Girl Who Died proves that it's not. And even before that, you can say the 6th Doctor wasn't, because he took the face of someone else that he already knew. But like, Girl Who Died confirms to you that the face means something, and it's actually pulled out of something for some reason. It's not random. So the fact that, and I actually talked about this before, I don't remember which video, but I talked about this before, is the fact that each Doctor kind of is what the previous Doctor kind of wish it was, in such a way, in a minimal way at least. Like, the first Doctor was old and frail and he couldn't run. Second Doctor pops in, let's go. The third Doctor, well, that one not so much, it was kind of forced. The fourth Doctor is kind of like so thirsty for adventure, because the third Doctor was kind of bound to Earth for most of his life, from my understanding. Fifth Doctor was more of a chill, fatherly kind of family man, and it's because he had like a couple really nice companions to take care of. They were kids, I think. Sixth Doctor, let's not talk about that. Seventh Doctor, let's also not talk about that. Eighth Doctor, like, you can make an argument of like the 7th Doctor McCoy, eventually he realized I was going too hard on blowing planets. And then the 8th Doctor happens, and he's much more of a calm, romantic kind of guy. Then he regenerates into the War Doctor, though that was targeted for the Time War. But then the 9th Doctor is the PTSD Doctor. But he's trying to be fun, he's trying to be lighthearted, but he's still the Warbed Doctor. But then when he finally accepts himself, he regenerates into the Doctor that loves being himself, And then when he doesn't want to go, and he regenerates into the Doctor that kind of doesn't give a shit anymore. But then he goes through like 1,000 years of some kind of war, and he regenerates literally blowing up a Dalek ship, and he regenerates into this grumpy old man, which is kind of the opposite of him. And he says, I got the feeling this next one is going to be a whopper. And it was. But then you can say that the reason why 12 regenerates into 13 is because he wanted 13 to happen. So I personally love the 13th Doctor. So far, I'm having a blast with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. And if anyone wants to disagree on that, then that's fine. But I think that if we look at the evidence, and even in episode 1, even in Woman Who Fell to Earth, episode 1 of series 11, Jodie does say, I'm gonna pull this, by the way, I'm gonna pull this right now, because I want to say it exactly like it is. I'm going to repeat exactly what she's saying right now. She's saying, We're all capable of the most incredible change. We can evolve while still staying true who we are. We can honor who we've been and choose who we want to be next. She literally says that shit. What do you think that means, huh? What do you think that means? What do you think that means? We are capable of the most impossible change. We can evolve while staying true to ourselves. We can honor who we've been and choose who we want to become next. What do you think that fucking means, motherfucker? The 13th Doctor is what the 12th Doctor wanted. The 12th Doctor chose to become this. And I love that. I love that so much. That's it. That's the final point I want to make on the 12th Doctor, is that the 12th Doctor wanted to become 13. And 13 is exactly what I feel like you wanted, and exactly what I wanted too. Because you can see, I said it in Twice Upon a Time during the discussion part of it. I said I haven't watched series 10, 11 yet, but I hope to God that whatever kind of Dr. Jodie is, that she's kind more than anything. Because the words that the 12th Doctor said resonating in my head, I was like, I hope they didn't mess this up. I hope they carry on what he wanted. Because it has to at this point. It has to. This Doctor has to be what he died trying to be. And being. The 12th Doctor did become this like ultimate version of who he was, but ultimately he was still the 12th Doctor, and he was like, if I can choose who I want to be next, I want it to be all of these things. Jodie fits all of them. 13th Doctor is fantastic because of this. So that's how I feel about Capaldi's run. That's how I feel a little bit about the Moffat era, and that's how I feel about Series 10. I didn't talk about Twice Upon a Time that much. It was great to have David Bradley as the first Doctor, because David Bradley played William Hartnell playing the first Doctor, and then we removed William Hartnell and he just became the first Doctor, I guess. It's fantastic, and it must have been so fucking nice, because Peter Capaldi is a big fan of Doctor Who, or was a big fan of Doctor Who during the early years. He talked about he was like 5 when Doctor Who started in 1963. So he watched the first Doctor's run, he watched the second Doctor's run, he watched the third Doctor's run, and he watched half of the fourth Doctor's run, and then he grew out of it and got into punk rock and started doing drugs and whatever. He's a rock star. But he loved those early years of Doctor Who so much. So when it was time for him to be the Doctor, there's a lot of what those was, of those early years that carry on through him. Because that's what Doctor Who was to him. But then, imagine how awesome it must be for your final story in the show to bring back the first Doctor. The first one, the one you started with all those years ago. He's back. It's not the same actor, but you get someone that is doing such a great work being him, and you're inserting yourself into that final story that you watched when you were like 8. Now you're part of it. How cool is that, dude? That must be so good. That must be so fun. And I love that so much. Knowing that makes me so happy. And I love that they did that for Twice Upon a Time. I love that they did some like small recreations and transitions between 4-3 from footage from like 6 to 7, and then going back to like 2018. Was it 18? Was it 17? I think it was 17. But like I love that so much. We've been doing this for like 2 hours. Yeah, every time this happens. Sorry, I have no filter. But, okay. There were a couple... Okay, so, we're gonna end on a low note, as usual. But, the Moffat era had a bunch of stuff that I wasn't a big fan of. And, okay, let's talk about the Moffat era in general now. And let's compare it a little bit to other shit. But, like, Twice Upon a Time had this thing that I didn't like too much, which was the first Doctor making some kind of weirdly bigoted jokes. Not like weirdly sexist jokes, because it is the joke of like, oh, Grandpa says sexy shit at dinner all the time because he's from the old era when it was okay to say stuff like that. That's the joke. That is making so much disservice to the first Doctor, though. It really is. To just reduce him to that joke, it's like that feels bad, man. It really does. For the legacy of the first Doctor, as well as for, I think it's a joke in bad taste. I really do think it is. And some people can come in, like, some people have literally told me, it's a joke, man. Jokes are jokes. And I'm just like, it wasn't funny to me. It was uncomfortable to me. And not only to me alone. I know people that literally have agreed with me on this. Yeah, those jokes weren't funny. It kind of felt wrong. And your answer to, like, it's a joke, man, it's like, fuck you, because like half the people that watched the episode don't agree that that joke was good. So you can't literally just grab 50% of the people that watch this and go like, oh, you just don't get the joke, man. It's like, no, fuck you. Like, it was just not good. It was just not good. Maybe to you it didn't bother you, but to me it did. So fuck you. You know? The same way you want to be dismissive about me, I can be dismissive about you. But at the end of the day, I think we can just say, reducing him to that alone, not great. So that's my only problem with Twice Upon a Time. But I there's some cool thing I saw Twice Upon a Time that I really enjoyed. Like the Christmas Amethyst was amazing. Brigadier's granddad or whatever thrown in because why not? The Doctor is just like, at the end he was like, everyone was just kind. And like, the one moment that had me in tears, the one moment that fucked me, was when he was saying goodbye to the glass version of Bill and Ardol. When he's like, a life this long is like a battlefield like this one, but it's empty because everyone else has fallen. And then the moment when he's like, thank you both for everything that you were to me. And my favorite part about that delivery, and it's the delivery, that's the one that gets me. It's not the line. It is the line in a way, but it's the delivery. If you go back and watch the moment when he says, thank you both for everything that you were to me, is the delivery that Capaldi gives when it says, for everything that you were to me. In that line, he's not looking at any of them. And then he's looking like to the floor. He's like looking to the side and to the floor with his eyes kind of closed and smiling. And then he blinks and then he looks back at Bill. That delivery of that line, not only the voice delivery, but like the acting that came with it, is so fucking good. Because it's like, everything that you were to me, were talking in the past sense, and he's not looking at them. To him, they are already history. And they are, because they're just glass memories. They're not the real versions of Bill and Ardol. But they're still real in some way. But to him, it's like our story ended. And they're just memories. And I'm looking at them, and at the very least, I can just say thank you for everything that happened between us. For all those good times that we spent together. But when he says that, and he's not looking at them, he's just kind of looking away, it's like he's remembering. He's not looking at them in the eye, he's remembering what the good days were. And he's just saying thank you to this avatars of them that are in front of him. And that hit me so hard. I couldn't understand why it hit me so hard when I watched it, but that was the moment that hit me the hardest. And I went back to it and I analyzed it, and I was like, that's why it got me so good. Okay, let's talk about, I said Moffat era in general, but like, okay, so now that I'm like 9 episodes into series 11, I can talk about a little bit more about what it is Moffat era, what it is Chibnall era, and RTD era to some degree. There is, and I didn't understand this until I was like 3 episodes into series 11, but like, the Doctor Who fanbase can be hard divided into specific fans for specific eras, which to me makes sense, because whenever I think of Doctor Who, I'm like, okay, this is a different show. Like, it's a different show every new era, right? So it makes sense that there are fans for ones, but the thing is that I don't think you have to be a fan of one to hate. I don't think you have to hate one version of the show to like the other. You can just like one and not be a fan of the other, and that's fine. You don't have to shit on it. And I've seen so many people talk mad shit on Series 11 of Doctor Who and Juvenile Era in general. Dude, I get recommended videos of saying, like, Doctor Who ruined clickbait with, like, a weird distorted face of Jodie Whittaker in it. Fuck you. Series 11, pretty good. But also, I've heard a lot of people that loved Series 11 or the era just saying, fuck the Moffat era shit. And I'm like, I get it to some degree, because there was also a lot of shit that happened in the Moffat era that I didn't really like. But the Peter Capaldi run, though, that's my favorite. I just think Moffat calmed the fuck down in a couple things and got so much better at some other things. He still had a lot of downsides. He still had a lot of moments where it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. But Heaven Sent, though. But Hellbent, though. But Dark Water, though. But World Enough, but The Extremist, though. There's so many good episodes that I'm just like, fuck, that was good. And the 12th Doctor on its own is just like the best one to me. So it's like I don't think you have to like one and hate the other. It's not mutually exclusive. But I think that happens because people want the show to be a specific thing. And even if people say, oh, I like change, I'm down with change, I want to see what's different, they still hate the new version because it's different from what the one you were used to. Which goes against the idea of like embracing change. Embracing change means letting go. It means saying, that's over. That's done. That's over. We're doing different now. We're doing something new. You don't have to shit on that because it's just not this. And people will say, I'm not shitting on Series 11 because it's different. I'm shitting on it because Chibnall ruined the show with those stiff. Okay, no, I'm gonna pull up an actual comment that somebody dropped on another video, a reply of me saying something similar to that. Not even that, just something similar. And it was, I'm not even gonna say who said it, but I mean, no one says about it being bad because it's different. It's bad because writing the most episodes, it's awful, plots are simple and chaotic that wouldn't even satisfy kids, and a lot of episodes are just bad filmography. And it's just like, I didn't think that, but okay, you go off. Like, I never at any point felt like the plots were so simple and idiotic that not even children would enjoy it, because I think children have a fucking blast with this show, no matter which version of it. Because it's just so fantastical. Especially little girls now. Because, like, the thing is that when you're a kid, you want to see a version, you want to see someone and you want to think, I want to be like that. Now that the Doctor is actually a woman, girls can watch girls that are like 6 years old and don't know anything about life can look at a main character and go like, she's so cool. I want to grow up and be like, that's great. It's great to have a role model like that. And that's amazing. And I think there's a big audience of Doctor Who that can now watch this show and enjoy it so much. Because the thing is that I feel like doing Moffat for like 6-7 years. Yeah, from 10 to like 17. Doing Moffat for like 7 years. There was 1 year of off time, but still. I think it kind of fucked with people's perception of what Doctor Who is supposed to be. Or what it is. And the answer to what it is who fucking knows? The show is not just a bunch of weird, wacky concept which just fuck you out of the blue surprises and just plot twists and just crazy concepts you cannot wrap your head around. That's not what Doctor Who is supposed to be. That's what it is during Moffat era. The entire Moffat era was nothing but that. But the RTD era was much more family and meaningful and romantic at times. And some people really liked that. And didn't like what Moffat era was, which was not that. But some people really like the Moffat era because you get fucking crazy ass episodes that are so enthralling into the sci-fi bullshit, and you love them because of it. But then when you move on to Chibnall, we are going back, not even to RTD era, but like it sometimes it feels like even classic episode. Like it feels like so much more like a family drama show than it is a sci-fi show. And a lot of people I've heard complain about Series 11. I should be saying this in the Series 11 video, but I'm dropping it here. Fuck it. Like I have time. I actually don't. But a lot of people I heard complain about Series 11 saying like, where's my aliens? Where's my weird time travel? Where's my weird concepts? And it's like, that's not what the episode is about, man. This episode is about Rosa Parks. This episode is about respect and meaning and teaching people about what this is and showing you so you can feel it. And if you don't feel it because you don't want to listen to it because you want to focus on like, where are my aliens though? Where's the conflict? I wanna fight aliens. I wanna blow up Daleks. It's like, that's not what the show is about. That's not what this episode is about. Each episode is about something different, dude. If you wanna say where the fuck are my aliens? Okay, let me Google Marco Polo TARDIS wiki. Marco Polo is the fourth serial of season 1 of Doctor Who. Aired in 22nd of February of 1964. I got super interrupted. I don't know what I was talking about. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about Series 11 being cool. It's different. It's just different, man. And Series 10 is the end of an era of the show, and the show will never be something like that again. And that's fine, because I feel like I kind of want to do a video where I just talk about consuming media and how to do that and the ways you do that. And like, Doctor Who is this weird case where it's like the show is just different. It's just different every couple of years. You have to deal with that. And there are going to be people that are going to say like, oh, that was great, but this one sucks though. And every time that's going to happen. And at the end of the day, I think that what you need to do is you need to understand that you need to appreciate things for what they are, not for what they aren't. Okay? You need to appreciate things for what they are. You cannot judge Alien for being a terrible comedy. And you cannot judge fucking Sharknado for being a bad drama. You cannot do that. You cannot judge things on a bar that they are not business being, on a bar that they're not business competing on. Series 11 of Doctor Who has a lot of weird, like, a lot of, like, very grounded drama and interactions. And you cannot judge it based on what wacky alien shit isn't doing, because that's not the point. And given there are a couple of episodes that I feel like are pretty average and kind of sleepers sometimes. Not even sleepers. They're just average. They're just like 5 and 6s. I don't care. We have 5s and 6s in every season of the show. Every single one. Except Capaldi era. Capaldi era is fantastic. But like, dude, okay. I'm gonna look at Doctor Who Series 6. Doctor Who Series 6. Let's look at every episode listed in Series 6. Okay. A Christmas Carol. This is the one where, yeah, that one. It was alright. It was okay. It was okay what they did with the old man. That was a fun concept. Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon. Not gonna lie, didn't enjoy that much. Curse of the Black Spot. It was fun doing pirates, but ultimately, kind of don't care. Doctor's Wife was pretty good, but that was written by Neil Gaiman, so you know, that's pretty good. Rebel Flesh, Almost People. The concept of doppelgangers is fun, but ultimately, I kind of don't care too much about the entire thing. Good Man Goes to War, Let's Kill Hitler. Good Man Goes to War is okay just because we get all the warriors. Let's Kill Hitler sucks. Well, It's weird because it's the whole River Song thing, but at the end of the day, it's just like whatever. Night Terrors. Let's not talk about Night Terrors. Girl Who Waited was pretty fucked. God Complex to Closing Time was good because Closing Time is doing this weird shit with with Craig and Sophie and all those people, so that was fun. Wedding on Riverside sucks. That's a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5, 6. Oh, yeah. That's like 7, 8 episodes that I don't care for. They have some moments in it that are pretty cool, but that's like 6, 7 episodes that I don't care for. The same applies to Series 7. The same can apply to Series 5 to some degree, and you can find a pretty good amount of sleepers in Series 2, 3, whatever. Dude, I don't think Series 11 is worse than any of the previous ones that we've had. Even if there are a couple episodes that aren't that great, I think they're just equally as average as some of the ones we already had in every season. Even Series 10. Even Series 10. Pilot, okay, whatever. Smile, whatever. Thin Ice, okay. Knock Knock, okay. Eaters of Light, whatever. We had like 4 here that I kind of don't give a shit too much about. And then we jumped to Series 11. We got Woman Without Work, which was pretty good. Ghost Monument was kind of whatever. Rosa was amazing. Arachnis in the UK, we don't talk about that one. Saranga Conundrum was pretty average. Demons of the Punjab was a masterpiece. Blanc was pretty good. Witchfinders was pretty good. It Takes You Away was weird, but it was okay. It was pretty alright. That's like 1, 2, 3 episodes. That's 3 episodes that kind of suck. And don't even... Arachnis in the UK is the only one that sucks. And that comes from a very, very biased position of someone who is arachnophobic. I couldn't even watch that episode. The other 2 are Ghost Monument, which was just kind of average, and Saranga Conundrum, which is just like, it's weird and average and okay-ish. I enjoyed it, but I will admit that it's kind of average. That's 3, motherfucker. The same amount that we had in Series 6. Literally just checked. Series 7, Doctor Who. The same amount that we got in Series 10. I also just checked. Let's go to Series 7. How many of Series 7 kind of matter which one? Doctor Weird in Bathrobe doesn't. Sucks. Asylum of the Daleks. Whatever. Dinosaurs of Spaceship. No. Tone Call Mercy. Not really, no. Power of 3. Not really. Interesting Manhattan was good. Bells of St. John. Let's say it was good. Rings of Akaten. There was one cool moment when he does that speech thing. Other than that, not really. Cold War, not really. I don't even remember what the fuck Hyde was. What the fuck was Hyde? Oh, that one sucks. Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. Don't care either. Crimson Horror. I don't know what... Oh! I know what Crimson Horror is. I don't care for it. Nightmare in Silver was... I think it was kind of cool. Oh, it's written by Neil Gaiman. That makes sense. Name of the Doctor was fucking whatever. I'm just shitting in on Series 6 and 7 now. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that if you enjoy those. But there's a good amount of episodes that I'm just like... I feel completely average towards. More so than in Series 11, where I only had 3 so far. And I am missing the finale, and people have told me the finale sucks. So, the finale might suck. That's fine. Let's say it's 4. 4 out of 10 are kind of average. Let's say the finale sucks. That's 1 out of 10 being bad, because I don't even think the others were bad. Arachnis was bad, but I don't feel qualified to say that Arachnis sucked because I didn't watch most of it. So, let's say that Arachnis sucks, let's say the finale sucks. That's still 2 out of 10. I don't know if you want to count the special that comes after the season. 2 out of 11. Fucking, that's exactly the same number we get in every season. Every other episode is either average or really good. There's a couple of really good ones here. Dude, Series 11, dude. Listen, episode 3 of Series 11 is a masterpiece. Episode 6 of Series 11 is a double masterpiece. Witchfinders was really good. Curvlam was really good. It Takes You Away was pretty good. One Move Fall to Earth was pretty good too. So that's like 2 episodes that are masterpieces and another like 3 or 4 that are really good. Why does anyone complain? And I know why everyone complains. I'm just avoiding the subject. Because the moment I bring the subject up, people are gonna start defending themselves and start making a lot of weird noises. Because no, I would never. But it is one of those things that people do unconsciously, isn't it? Subconsciously. I'm just gonna dodge that. I'm just gonna avoid that. But let's say that ultimately I feel like people approach media with a pretty biased mindset or unforgiving mindset. I think people just watch Series 11 waiting for mistakes or waiting for fuck-ups just to shit on it. And I think this culture we have going on, this weird social media culture where a lot of people just love talking mad shit on everything, and people love listening to that and going, yeah, that did suck, and then going in the comments and circle jerking each other of like, yeah, that was terrible. Good review, man. Good review, man, where you did nothing but talk mad shit on something for 20 minutes. That was a good review, man. It's like, fuck you. I feel like we just live in this weird, like, social media, YouTube, influencer, whatever you want to say, of communities where nowadays, and I've seen this happen, and it has happened to me even, where you literally just watch a video of someone saying something and you go like, yeah, you're right, just because you heard someone else say it, because that's how humans work. That's literally how humans work. People hear someone else say something and they go either, yeah, you're right, or they go like, fuck you, the opposite. It's one or the other. It's never just like someone else can have their own thoughts and opinions. It's like, it's always you're right or you're wrong. There's never, yeah, you can say whatever you want. That's fine. And I feel like we should do more of that. Everyone should be able to just, whenever they hear someone say something about anything, they go, yeah, that's that person's business. That's it. It doesn't concern me. I don't have to form any harsh opinions that agree or disagree with that person. It doesn't matter to me. It's entirely up to that person to say whatever the fuck they want to say. But nowadays, we live in this weird era where everyone just makes a lot of videos just saying, Doctor Who is ruined. This is how Griff Chibnall is ruining the show. Jodie Whittaker is the worst Dr. Charlie. I don't know why I always turn into Danny DeVito when I make that voice, but okay. The thing is that I think that's it. I think that's literally it. People just love saying things, yell at people saying them, and people will just agree. And that's just what it is. People love being told what to do. Imagine how fucked up would it be if Doctor Who actually did an episode touching on that, wouldn't it? It would be a really weird episode if Doctor Who did an episode where they talk about how much people just go crazy under the influence of other people telling them how they should feel about things. That would be really crazy, wouldn't it? That would be really crazy how they would do that. It would be crazier if it was a historical episode where they touch on the subject and how this mentality led to the death of millions of people in the past. It would be really crazy how they touch on this mentality. how they did that in order to try and teach people about it. And people didn't listen to it. How crazy would that be? Fuck off, man. Demons of the Punjab is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever made. Just because of that, the irony is so pure. It's so pure on that one. I got really sidetracked into Series 11. Oh my god. Okay. I might make a standalone video with this. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay. Short version of Series 10 and Peter Capaldi and Moffat era. Peter Capaldi, awesome, greatest Doctor ever in my opinion. You're gonna have your own personal favorite. Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, is my personal favorite, and I love him very, very much. He's amazing. Everything he brought to the table was amazing, and I love his entire journey of the 12th Doctor. It's my favorite that you can do for any fictional character ever, or real person even. Series 10 of Doctor Who had my favorite companions ever. It didn't necessarily have the best stories, but it did have some really good stories regarding the 12th Doctor's run, and the Monk trilogy was really good, even if the wrap-up was a little bit weird. Twice Upon a Time was really, really quirky send-off for the 12th Doctor meeting with the First Doctor, and behind the scenes it must have been even cooler considering Capaldi's background as a fan of the classic show, but in the early years, so I love that so much. The Peter Capaldi era as a whole, I think it's the best because the character of the 12th Doctor goes through so much, and it starts at a very specific place. It goes through so much in the process, and he finds himself doing a complete 180 in what that character holds as important and what his personality is by the end of his journey, because he's gone through so much, and now he's just completely changed into someone that is a nicer, kinder, and better person. I really enjoy having Clara in Series 9. 8 was better than 7, and 9 was better than everyone. But that ultimately led to her death, but it was okay because they had this whole storyline set up, okay? And I just really enjoy Series 9. Series 9 is my favorite of the entire modern era of the show, and in general, because I haven't watched everything classic, but so I can't compare it to full eras, but the Peter Capaldi era is my favorite, and Series 9 is my favorite season of the show, because there's so many two-parters. I love two-parters, and they just do some crazy shit with Heaven Sent and Hellbent, and even Before the Flood and Under the Lake and Magician's Apprentice, Witch of Familiar. There's so much good shit that happens in those episodes. I love Series 9 so much. It's my favorite. Then we get Series 8. I feel like it was a step up from 11's run in Series 6 and 7 and even 5, but it was still kind of whatever until you actually get the character of the 12th Doctor rolling. And 8 was in a way a setup for 9 and 10, I think. So I enjoy it because it's doing what it needs to be doing, so then we may have 9 and 10. For Moffat era, 11's run is my weakest, the one that I consider the weakest run of any modern Doctors. I enjoy Eccleston more than I enjoy 11th Doctor, and it's entirely because of some of the weird shit that Moffat writes sometimes, that I feel like Moffat is a very hit or miss writer, in the sense that he writes some crazy ideas that are fucking cool, because if you go back and check who has written every single episode of Doctor Who, Moffat has written some of the best ones, and that's why he became the showrunner afterwards. He wrote what's the name of the two-parter? Empty Child, Dr. Danton's in season 1, and that's one that people consider to be like maybe the best Eccleston story. It's so fucking good. He wrote that. He also wrote Blink. He wrote Girl in the Fireplace. He wrote Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead. He wrote so many stories that people consider to be really fucking good. So it makes sense that they gave him the show running. But the thing is that when you get there, you realize, oh shit, this guy writes really awesome ideas for plots in a story, but he doesn't necessarily know how to write characters. And that was the problem. Because RTD main's appeal was the characters and the relationships, Moffat fucked up on that, and whenever he tried to step into that, it was weird. So Moffat has really strong points, he has really weak points. And sometimes it gets weird and it gets weak and you don't like it. And that's how I felt about a lot of Eleven's run. But he has some really cool, interesting things he did there. I feel like Peter Capaldi, because the 12th Doctor is a character that didn't get people, helped in that regard. And then they actually made a journey into him trying to understand. So maybe that was playing to his strengths in a way, and the weird concepts that they did for Capaldi's run were hits almost across the board. Not entirely, but just Series 9, man, fuck me. Series 10 was pretty good. Series 8 was kind of whatever, but it worked, you know. So Moffat's run of Doctor Who, weak points, strong points. Almost like every showrunner of the show has their weak points and has their low points, and they all differ from each other. So that's ultimately how I feel about this. So Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, is my favorite Doctor. Peter Capaldi, an amazing performance. Missing is my favorite incarnation of the Master. Bill and Ardua, my favorite companions we've had in the show in its entire history. So Series 10 had a lot going for it. Some of the stories didn't quite do it, particularly the first half. But the Monk trilogy and the entire finale thing, it was so good that I don't care. So good that I don't care. So I would say it's weaker than Series 9, but it's still like one of my favorite seasons because of everything else. So that's how I feel about Series 10. That's how I feel about Capaldi Run. Yeah. I think I can finally end this goddamn video. How long have we been doing this for? For like 3 hours? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this again for Series 11. I also need to record Greatest Show in the Galaxy, as well as finale for Season 11. God damn it. Okay, I'm just gonna go play some video games or something. I'm tired, man. I've been talking for like 3 hours non-stop. Okay, I'm done. Oh yeah, I don't do an outro for these videos. These videos are usually just super scuffed. Okay, thanks if you watch this, or not necessarily watch it, just listen to it, because it's just like a Doctor Who podcast at this point. But thank you so much if you watch/listen to this. Me rant about Series 10 and Peter Capaldi and a little bit of Series 11 of Doctor Who. If you would like to watch my reactions to it, if you haven't seen those, then they are there on the channel. There's a playlist, Doctor Who. Also, I should make a playlist with all this Doctor Who talks, so I'm probably going to do that, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to listen to me talk about Doctor Who seasons for, at this point, like 6-7 hours. If you want to do that, then fucking go wild. I do other shows such as The Expanse, I did Dark, I did Chernobyl. Check those out, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for staying here. If you did, you get a cookie. Like, holy shit, this is a lot to sit through, so thank you if you did. Alright, then. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we can finish. So, that was me talking about Doctor Who Series 10 for like 2 hours and a half. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. I don't know how to finish this video. Okay,